If you are thinking of moving to Colombia and you have questions about Colombian health insurance, this video is for you. Hola amigos, it's Juli Franco, Colombian visa expert and relocation consultant. Today, I'm going to explain in simple terms about Colombian health insurance, what you need to know to use it, to be enrolled, and how everything works. So let's start from the beginning. In Colombia, the health insurance is a mix. It's not totally private, it's not totally public. It's a mix. And the normal Colombian health insurance is called EPS. So first, pronunciation. In Spanish, the letter I is pronounced E and the letter E is pronounced E. Can be a little confusion for some of the foreigners because when I am saying EPS, they think I am saying EPS, what is different things. So here in this video, I am gonna say the names in Spanish, EPS, EPS. So what is an EPS? EPS is an entidad promotora de salud, that in English will be a company that provides health insurance. Okay? In Colombia, health insurance is part of a social security system. And that social security system says that Colombians or people that live in Colombia are obligated to be enrolled in the health insurance. And the way to be enrolled is two. One is paying or contributivo, that is for the people that are employees, retired, or self-employed, making enough money. Or subsidized, that is for people that is an employee or don't make enough money. And when you are subsidized means the government and the EPS will subsidize your health insurance. I will explain or come back to this system later in this video. Health insurance in Colombia is financed by the people that pay and the national government. For example, with the taxes that has to be paid with the lottery, alcohol, casinos, the government takes that money and give it to the EPS. EPS are private companies and you are free to choose which company you want for you. For example, Sura, Nueva EPS, Sanitas, Sabia Salud, etc. We have a lot of companies. I always suggest choose the company that has more offices in the area where you live. For example, I am in Sura because here in the Oriente Antioqueño or in general in Antioquia, we have a lot of Sura offices, so it's easier for me. But for example, my father and my mother, they have for the service Nueva EPS because they use that the whole life, so they want to stay with that one. Remember, you are free to choose what company you want. All the companies are obligated to provide the same services. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, they all are gonna be the same. You can be enrolled in the EPS at any age. They don't take in consideration any pre-existing condition. Your spouse and kids under 18 can be beneficiary of the service with no additional cost, but they will have to pay a copay all the time when they use the service. But here in Colombia, the copays are very cheap. I will say $2 to $3. If you don't pay for 6 months, they are going to automatically unenroll you from the system. And when you come back, you will have to pay a fine and the months you owned. So this is a reminder for you guys. If for any reason you have to stop paying your EPS, please let me know or somebody to help you to be unenrolled to avoid any of that fines. What is EPS? EPS stands for Institución Prestadora de Servicios. That in English means an institution that provides health insurance services. For example, a hospital, a clinic, a lab. Basically, the EPS administrate the healthcare resources, that means the money, and pay the EPS, the places, again, like clinics, labs, or hospitals, for that services. I'm gonna say an example so you understood the difference. An EPS is Sura. We pay them the health insurance. And if I need, for example, x-rays, I am going to Clínica Sommer, get my x-rays with my documents for the EPS, and the EPS will pay Clínica Sommer for my x-rays, okay? EPS that remembers means company, and EPS that remembers means institution or place. Clinic, hospital, lab, simple. So how does it work? First, you are going to be enrolled in the EPS in the company. And next, you are going to be assigned a EPS institution or place near where you live. In that EPS institution, you are going to see your primary or general doctor. So basically, if you are sick and it's not an emergency, you are going to have an appointment with your primary or general doctor, and he is going to prescribe you medicine or basic test. But if you have to see a specialist, he is going to refer you to that specialist. But in the EPS, in the company, you need first an approval for that. That will take some days. After you take the approval, you go and see the specialist, and the specialist is going to prescribe more specific medicine and a higher test. For example, if I have a pain in my knee, I make an appointment with my primary or general doctor, and he's going to prescribe Tylenol for the pain and x-rays to see what is going on in my knee. But if I don't get any results with the Tylenol, they check the x-rays, they find out there's a problem in my joints. So the doctor is going to refer me to a specialist, for example, an orthopedic surgeon. I will wait some days that the EPS approve that, and I go to see the orthopedic surgeon. But you have to understand that orthopedic surgeon is going to be assigned from the EPS. I cannot choose which one I'm going to see. So I go to see that orthopedic surgeon, and he can send me a better prescription for pain, or for example, an MRI, and works in my problem, okay? That is if you are sick and it's not an emergency. But if you are sick and it's an emergency or an accident, you just have to go to an emergency room. They are going to do everything they need to do to help you, and you can use or go to any emergency room in any clinic, hospital, anywhere in Colombia. Colombia health insurance system versus the rest of the world. So the big difference between Colombia health insurance and other countries is that here in Colombia, the doctors, the pharmacies, and the labs are workers for the company, the EPS. That means the doctors get paid by the hours. Doesn't matter what they prescribe to you. If you have cancer or a cold, they only are workers and they get paid by hours, okay? Also, here in Colombia, to prescribe a very expensive medicine, you have to be and a specialist doctor, not a basic doctor, okay? So that means the faster you get cured, much better for the EPS, for the company, because they will spend less money in you. So the big goal for all our doctors is make you cure for what you have. They are not going to prescribe you medicine or treatments that get you addict, because less spend, better for the company. The other difference that I want to explain is that in Colombia, clinic has private administration and hospital has public administration, or in some cases a mix between public and private, and they are more complex, more bigger, and has more services. So as I said before, Colombian health insurance is part of a social security system, and as a Colombians or foreigners, we pay a fixed package of health, pension, professional risk, and something like recreation that cannot be separate. We always pay in a package. So we pay that package based in our income, because dependent of our income is the contribution of our pension. That means I will pay high for my pension, but I am also paying high from my health insurance. But that doesn't mean I am getting different service from somebody that is paying lower than me. And the minimum or the lower amount that you can pay is based in a minimum wage. Because the foreigners that has a pensions, or Colombians, doesn't have to contribute to that pension or doesn't have to pay professional risk, they only have to pay health insurance. So we get them enrolled in the EPS like independent or self-employees. One of the most common questions that I have in my calls is how much I will have to pay for my health insurance in Colombia if I have a pension. If you do it correct, and if your pension is above minimum wage, you have to pay using a base of the 40% of your income, and you will pay the 12.5% of that. For example, if your income or your pension, is 2,000 US dollars, so the 40% of that 2,000 US dollars is 800 US dollars, and that will be the base. That means you will pay 12.5% or $800, that is 100 US dollars. That means you will pay for health insurance in Colombia 100 US dollars a month. But let me be clear, the minimum wage threshold is the lowest income you can use to pay the health insurance in Colombia. And in case you make a minimum wage, you are gonna be paying 218,905 Colombian pesos each month for health insurance or EPS. And I know this is very confused. You don't have to do that calculation. I will help you to enroll, calculate all that. It's one of my services, so I will be here to help you. So what are EPS covers? EPS covers a lot of things, so I'm gonna make a list and will be easier for you to check it. So EPS covers primary doctors, specialists, or any health professional, for example, nutritionists, dentists, optometrists, physical therapists, and psychologists. Hospitalizations for as long as you need in a shared room, special care units, intensive care units, burns units, transplants, dialysis, prosthetics, and chemotherapy. Medicines, generic or branded, oxygens, the lens in your prescription glasses and partial coverage of the frames, palliative care, blood transfusions, ambulances or transportation, blood tests, X-rays, MRIs and ultrasounds, biopsies, CT scans, and surgeries. EPS does not cover cosmetic treatments or surgeries. Medicine prescribed by the EPS. So when the doctor from the EPS give you a prescription for a medicine, that prescription is going to have a name of a pharmacy and an address. That is an EPS allocated pharmacy. That means you only can go to pick up your prescription in that specific pharmacy, not in the pharmacies, generic brands that you see in the street, okay? The EPS has three different type of pharmacies. One is for regular prescriptions like blood pressure or metoprolol medicine, things like that. The other is for expensive medicine, like for example insulin, and the other one is for controlled medicine, for example Xanax or painkillers like hydrocodone. When you go to pick up your prescription in that special pharmacy, you have to bring your cédula de extranjería and you have to pay a copay that normally is $1 or $2. Doctors are going to do your prescriptions for 3 to 6 months. Every month you have to do a process online to renew that prescription. I always explain my clients how to do it, or I do it for some of them. After that 3 or 6 months of the prescription, you have to come back to see the doctor, so he will check if the treatment is working. If not, he will send you another medicine or send you to see a specialist. If it's working, he will renew again that prescription for you. How to pay the EPS? So the EPS, you pay it month by month or up to 3 months in advance, and has to be paid online or in a specific place that I will tell you where, and has to be paid using a system that is called PILA. That means you are not going to pay directly to the EPS company, you are going to pay using a third party. I will explain about that with more detail when I enroll you into the EPS, and in that way will be easier for you. I do it for my clients all these years and they are happy. It's not that difficult. EPS and retirement visa for foreigners. From July 2022, the stipulation for the retirement visa say that a retirement visa holder are not allowed to be enrolled in the Colombian EPS system, but they are allowed to be enrolled in a private Colombia health insurance like Póliza or travel insurance. In a minute, I am going to explain Póliza. But in my experience, looks like the decisions depends of the discretion of the Cancillería or the foreign minister worker, because none of my retirement visa clients are being rejected when I use the EPS as a proof that they have health insurance in Colombia, which is a requirement for the retirement visas. Of course, I am enrolling my clients in the EPS with a little trick and in the correct way, but of course, I'm not going to reveal my trick, but I am getting with this method 3 years visa approval for my clients. And here is the proof. Also, I use the regulation for the Minister of Health in Colombia that say that any person with a cédula de ciudadanía or cédula de extranjería can be enrolled in a EPS health insurance in Colombia. So as you see, wording is crucial and you're being enrolled in a correct way. I saw on internet that some people that are in the process to do the retirement visa are being requested from the workers of the foreign minister to be unenrolled from the EPS system and get enrolled into the private health insurance, Póliza, or a travel insurance in order to get approved for the visa. That never happens to me. But it happens, I will say it is an easy solution. Just doing it. You are not being rejected. They are only request you to do an action. I suggest to my new clients for the retirement visa that because they don't have the cédula de extranjería yet, only the passport because it's the first visa, that we use a travel insurance to do the first visa application. And the travel insurance I suggest will cover you for what the foreign ministers are asking, that is health insurance in Colombia, and for repatriation, that means if you die, they will send your body to your original country, and also that covers you for minimum 1 year here. But that is something we can talk in more detail when we start your visa or in one of the calls that you can book with me. For clients in the 50s, I am getting quotes about $600 a year. For clients in the 60 to 70s, quotes between 700 and $1,000 a year, or clients up to 80, I am getting quotes in the $1,400 a year. So like you see, it's cheaper to buy some travel insurance here in Colombia. Private health insurance, Póliza. In Colombia, we have different companies that sell private health insurance. For example, Seguros Bolívar, Póliza Sura, Allianz, Mafre, AXA. Each company has different plans, but the only difference is that Póliza Sura is the only one that sells health insurance using a passport. And I want to explain that this Sura is Póliza Sura because the company Sura also sells EPS, car, home, and other more. But this one is Póliza Sura. So Póliza Sura is the only one that will accept you and enroll you with your passport in case you don't have a cédula de extranjería. So I'm going to speak only about Póliza Sura because it's the one that maybe you will be more focused on to buy. Póliza Sura will enroll you up to 69 years old and will cover you for the rest of your life. They will have in consideration pre-existing conditions. They really check obesity and the BMI. Póliza Sura has 3 different plans, and the difference is that one of the plans will cover you only in Colombia. The other plan would cover you in Colombia and international, and the other plan would cover you in Colombia and like a travel insurance. That means the plan that I say that covers you in Colombia and international is because they covers you for a program or schedule appointments in other countries, not just for emergencies like a travel insurance. The cost of your Póliza Sura increase every year based in an index that we have here in Colombia for the services of health, and also increase when you move from one age group to another one. Example, from 0 to 14, from teen to 40, and 41 to 50, 51 to 60, and like that. Private Colombian health insurance in Colombia covers you for the same, will be covered by the EPS health insurance. But as a bonus, you don't have to see your primary doctor. You can go directly to see the specialist. Also, you will have a special treatment in the emergency rooms. For example, if you go to an emergency room and you have a Póliza, they will take you in a special room only for private insurance, and you will see doctors that only see people that has private health insurance. Also, you will have a private room. You don't have to share a room in case you are in a hospitalization, and also covers you for alternative medicine like Chinese medicine or acupuncture, bariatric surgery, and can be paid monthly, every 3 months, every 6 months, or annually. And if you have a cédula de ciudadanía or extranjería and you are enrolled in a EPS, will be less expensive. At-home medical care. To be eligible, you have to have EPS insurance or private health insurance. Here in Colombia, we have different companies, but especially in Antioquia and in the Oriente Antioqueño, we use EMI and Doctor House. They don't have any age limit and covers you for medical urgencies and medical emergencies at home 24/7. Also, you can have medical consultations in a phone call or a chat, and they will include an ambulance ride in case they cannot help you in home. For example, if they go to my house because I have, I don't know, a headache, and they give me medicine and they find out my vital signs are, I don't know, really bad, and is an emergency that has to be treated in a hospital, they will take me in an ambulance to emergency room, and they will be waiting with me inside to the ambulance that the emergency room accept me and start to give me the treatment. Also, is covering the medicine they will administer you at home, like for example, IVs. They can take automatic payments from your account, or you can pay online. Will cost you 54,000 pesos so each month by person for the regular service, or 60,000 pesos a month by person, including also dentist emergencies. Paying out of pocket. Here in Colombia, you can go to emergency room in case you have an emergency or an accident and pay it out of pocket with cash, credit card, or debit card, but you have to leave a deposit. In case your treatment is less than your deposit, they will return that money to you at the end of the service. You can have appointments with a specialist that we call particular. You just choose which one you want to see, make an appointment, and pay for it. For example, a specialist like a psychiatric, you will pay 250,000 pesos for the appointment. Or to clean your teeth in the dentist, you will be paying 300,000 pesos for that service. Also, you can have an appointment with a primary doctor, and that will cost you between 60,000 pesos to 100,000 pesos, depend of the clinic or hospital that you go. And the prescriptions they are going to give you, you only have to take it to the pharmacy and buy the medicine out of your pocket in any of the pharmacies that you see in the street, like Pasteur, Farmatodo, Droguería Alemana, Cruz Verde. We have a lot of brands. Also, that pharmacies will have some special locations where you have to buy the controlled medicine like Xanax or painkillers like hydrocodone. And for that, you have to show a special prescription and your original passport. Also, we have private labs that will do blood tests or urine tests or physics tests with or without referral from a doctor. And that test will cost you from 60,000 pesos to 1 million pesos. That depends on what you need. But for example, the blood test to know what type of blood you have cost you between 40,000 pesos to 100,000 pesos, depending on the lab, and you will get the results very fast, normally the same day. We have labs that will do X-rays, MRIs, ultrasound, etc. in the same way that the blood test, with or without referral from a doctor, and also cost less than in United States. And from extra couple of dollars, like 12,000 to 20,000 pesos, the lab will go to your house to take the samples for the blood test, and it's very cheap and a very good service. You also can pay out of your pocket for other treatments that I will leave on the screen. Transplants, senior assistance, eye surgery, eye treatment or transplants, cosmetic surgeries, dental care, stem cells treatment, dermatology, and basically any kind of medical treatment that you need. And as you maybe know, here in Colombia, medical tourism is very popular. I have a lot of clients that come just to have medical treatment here. For example, I have a client that has a hip replacement and 3 months care with a nurse and physical therapy for 1/10 of the cost in United States. So guys, we reached the end of the video. Now you can relax, and me too. I know this is a very dense and heavy information, but I want you guys have all the correct information so you can get the best decision for you and avoid unnecessary expensive mistakes. If you need more focused attention, please book a one-to-one call with me. I really hope this video helped you. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao amigos. So today I want to say thank you to James Jones for this coffee. Thank you for buying me this coffee. I am recording today and drinking the coffee in this beautiful nursery or garden center in the road that goes from Rio Negro to La Ceja. Inside is a beautiful coffee that is called Café Capiro. Beautiful place. Thank you, James, for this coffee.